intuition is a perception by ways or means of the unconscious.
Yes.
That is as near as I can get. Now this is a very important function, because when you live under primitive conditions, a lot of unpredictable things are likely to happen.
Yes.
And there you need your intuition, because you cannot possibly tell by your perceptions, by your sense perceptions, what there is going to happen. For instance, you are traveling in primeval forest. You only see for a few steps ahead. Mm-hmm. You go by the compass, perhaps, and you don't know what there is ahead. It is uncharted country. If you use your intuition, then you have hunches. And when you live under such primitive conditions, you instantly are aware of hunches. For instance, there are places that are favorable, there are places that are not favorable. You can't tell for your life what it is.
Yeah.
But you better follow these hunches.
Yes.
Because anything can happen. Quite unforeseen things. For instance, at the end of a long day, you approach a river, and you don't know that there is a river. Yet, when you come to the river, that is quite unexpected. For miles, there is no human habitation. You cannot swim across. It's all full of crocodiles. So what? You see? Now, such an obstacle hasn't been foreseen. But it may be that you have had a hunch, that you remained in the last likely spot, and that you wait for the following day, that you can build a raft or something of the sort, or look out for possibilities. For instance, you also can have intuitions that constantly happens in our jungle called a city.
Yeah.
You can have a hunch something is going wrong, particularly when you are driving an automobile.
Yeah.
For instance, it is a day where nurses appear in the street.
Yeah.
And they always try to get something interesting like a suicide, to be run over. That's marvelous, apparently.
Yeah.
And then you get a peculiar feeling, and really at the next corner already is a second nurse that runs in front of the automobile.
Yeah.
You see, duplicity of cases,
Yeah.
That is a rule, that such chance happenings come in groups.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you see, we have constantly warnings, hints that consist perhaps in a slight feeling of uneasiness, uncertainty, fear. Now, under primitive circumstances, you pay attention to these things. They mean something. With us in our man-made, absolutely, apparently safe conditions, we don't need that function so very much.
Yes.
Yet we still use it. So you find intuitive types, for instance, amongst bankers, Wall Street men.
Yeah.
They follow hunches, gamblers of all descriptions.
Yeah.
You find the type very frequently among doctors, because it helps them in their prognosis. Sometimes a case can look quite normal, as it were, and you don't foresee any complications. Yet, an inner voice tells you, now look out, here is something not quite all right,
Yes.
You cannot tell why and how, but we have a lot of subliminal perceptions, sense perceptions. And from those, we probably draw a good deal of our intuitions. But that is perception by the way of the unconscious.
Yeah.
And you can observe that with intuitive types. You see, intuitive types very often do not perceive by their eyes or by their ears. They perceive by intuition. For instance, once it happened that I had a woman patient in the morning at 9 o'clock. And you see, I often smoke my pipe, and there's a certain smell of tobacco in the room, or a cigar. And so she came and said, "But you begin early." I said, "You call it early at 9 o'clock?" She said, "No, you must have seen somebody at 8 o'clock." I said, "How do you know?" There had been a man there that had come at 8 o'clock already. Then she said, "Oh, well, I just a hunch. There must have been a gentleman with you this morning." I said, but how do you know it was a gentleman? He said, "Oh, well, I just had the impression, the atmosphere was just like a gentleman here."
Yeah.
All the time, you know, the ashtray was under her nose, and there was a half-smoked cigar.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't notice it.
Yeah.
So you see, the intuitive is the type that doesn't see the stumbling block before his feet. But he's ran for 10 miles.